Hi, I'm Nick Hanton, and welcome to The Consumer's Advocate, the one and only place where we bring you the top lawyers in America. And today, I've got just one of those guys sitting right here, Mr. Randy Hood. Randy, welcome.
Hey, how are you doing, Nick?
Good, man. It's great to have you here. So, obviously, you practice in the Carolinas, and I know a lot about you, but our guests don't. So, tell our viewers a little bit about how you got into doing what you do now.
It's kind of an involved story, but it's one of those things where I was raised in a blue-collar neighborhood and started working at a shoe store at 16, and I was the first person to graduate from college in my family. And people from my neighborhood, they were good people and good folks, but we didn't become doctors and lawyers. And then about 4 years after that, still running a shoe store, got news that my daughter was coming. And at that point, I decided, well, gosh, I better do something. And so I decided I was going to become a lawyer, and I did. And progressed up. And then 10 years ago, I started my own firm with one guy. We had just two of us and two paralegals in a little basement. And now we've got, fortunately, 20 lawyers and 4 offices in South Carolina. And, you know, we've done pretty well. And we represent people who have been hurt really badly, most of them through some type of medical negligence. And then we also do pharmaceutical litigation. We've started doing that pretty heavy in the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so great. So obviously, kind of catastrophic injury or health problems. Most people would, I think, pretty well understand that if you get run over by a semi. I mean, there's some pretty bad injuries. It's not just the my back's hurting. I mean, explain a little bit more about the kind of injuries you help people with.
We, unfortunately, when people come to see me, it's probably not a great thing because someone is deceased or someone may be missing a limb, someone may be brain injured. And so it's not a situation that it's necessarily a happy occasion, but what I'm there to do is to help even the playing field against a large corporation. Because many times these are people who are less fortunate in society, and it's my job to make sure that the playing field is even. And that's what I do.
Excellent. I mean, you really, because, yeah, when someone is left with a situation like that, there is, they need help with life. Obviously, if they're still alive and they're missing a limb, it's not quite the same. They can't do the same things they could do. You're there to kind of give them a second chance. Or if it's a family who's lost someone, unfortunately, they deserve a second chance to go out and be happy again and to go out and live life, right?
That's true. And what happens a lot of times, it's the breadwinner of the family. And so someone is left in a very bad economic situation, and they've got to be able to help maintain their family unit. And it's almost impossible to do if you've lost either the patriarch or the matriarch or someone who is providing most of the income. And so what we try to do is give them as much of their life back. Obviously, we can't take it back to day one, but we try to give them as much of their life back as possible.
That's awesome. Now, talking about pharmaceuticals, because obviously that's a very specialized field. Most people probably wouldn't even know there's lawyers who specialize in that. Talk a little bit about the kind of cases you work on and what the issues are in the pharmaceutical market today.
People, they take pharmaceutical drugs to get better, but many times they even get worse, or they have some unspecified condition that occurs that they then know about, and then it's much more serious than the reasons they were taking the drug in the first place. For instance, there's a diabetes drug out, and it causes bladder cancer. Who would have ever thought that a diabetes drug would cause bladder cancer? Or you get a hip, and a hip isn't supposed to fail. You get a hip to walk better, and then it dislocates, or it erodes your hip unit, or you suffer from something called metallosis, and all of a sudden you're much worse than when you started. And these are the types of things that are occurring today. It isn't just pharmaceuticals, but it's also the medical devices that kind of fall within that same category of what I call pharmaceutical litigation.
Okay, and so I think one thing that's just important for people to understand too is that no matter, your doctor is an advocate for your health, but there's no one who's a better advocate for your health than you. You're the only one who knows how something is making you feel. And obviously, if there's a problem, first of all, they got to get to a hospital, right, or a doctor quick.
They've got to get to a hospital or a doctor quick. The first thing that anyone has to do is to take care of themselves. They are the person that knows how they feel usually. And if there's something that's different, I think sometimes what we in society do is in our gut, we're like, wow, something isn't right. What should I do? Well, if your gut is telling you something isn't right, go get help. because you can always talk to a lawyer or someone else at some later time. But the most important thing, take care of yourself first.
That's what this is all about. This is not about getting sue happy or overly litigious and trying to find people to sue. This is, you help people who legitimately have a problem and they've been wronged because someone gave them a bad drug or bad advice, right?
Right. And in fact, I'll tell you, our firm will probably look at 2,500 medical malpractice cases this year, and we'll take 50 to 100. That means 2,400 that we look at are going to be turned down because something didn't happen or it was just a bad outcome. We do not bring frivolous claims. We have never been accused of it, and it's never happened, and we've never been found to have done that. And some of the drug corporations and companies, they're putting out drugs, and they're not warning of dangers that they themselves may know about.
Yeah, it's much actually like kind of the tobacco litigation, right? I mean, there's a lot of things they knew were side effects, and they just didn't disclose them.
There is a situation right now, and I don't want to name the specific product, but where the drug company actually, or the medical device manufacturer, paid 13 of the people who reviewed the product and wrote articles, got the money from the company. Wow. And the company has paid out a lot of money in whistleblower claims, and they've done some things that you and I or any member of society, if they were to find out about it, would find it very unsavory.
I have no doubt. It's just wrong. And so, unfortunately, greed gets in the way sometimes. And sometimes it's just a mistake or it's just carelessness. But either way, they bring it to someone like you, and you can advise them on look, if someone made a harmless mistake, it's not a big deal. But obviously, by the time they get to you, it's probably a bigger problem.
It's a big deal. And it's just like if you or I were driving down the street and we hit somebody in the back and they're hurt, we want them to be taken care of. I want them to be taken care of if I caused it. Well, a doctor doesn't have to be a bad guy, or a hospital, or even a corporation. But if they do something and someone is hurt, then the person that is hurt deserves to have their life put back as close as possible to the way it was before the accident.
I completely agree. And now, so someone who's watching this might say, man, that's a guy with 20 lawyers in his firm. Man, I don't know, maybe I want to go down the street to the divorce lawyer, and maybe he can help me with my pharmaceutical claim. I don't want to be just lost in a crowd. I mean, what do you say to that guy?
You know what I say? I put my pants on one leg at a time. I came from where you came. You're me. You're my people. And so I will talk to you. My law partner will talk to you. We will take your case. And we also, the people that we hire, we're very select in that we take people we feel that are very similar to ourselves who care. Because I do. I lose sleep at night. They say you're not supposed to get involved with your clients. I get personally involved in every case because that's just the way that I roll. And, I care, period.
Awesome. And what I love about, you've built you and your partner will deal with every case, but you've built a big enough firm and big enough staff that you can handle any case, but you're small enough to care. So that's what I think is really unique about your firm.
In fact, our tagline is your life, our mission.
That's awesome. Now, obviously, I know you can't tell us probably the specifics of too many things, but is there one or two cases that you could tell us about where people might identify with, man, maybe I should go see something about this?
There are. In 1997, a family came to me, and it was a man and a woman that had tried for 17 years to have a child. They had some surgery, and she got pregnant. This child was perfect. This child was in its 40th week, and she goes to the hospital to deliver. And the doctor, in my opinion, hurried. And so he applied a vacuum, and then he applied forceps, and then a vacuum, and then forceps, and then a vacuum, and then forceps, and a vacuum again. And when they delivered that child, he was catastrophically injured. It was like someone had beat him over the head with a baseball bat. And that's what one of our experts said, not me. And he didn't have a blink reflex. He didn't have a swallow reflex. He lived for 22 months, and then he passed away. And I'll always remember his funeral because it touched me in a way that I've never, ever been able to get over. And this family, I didn't care what it took, what I had to do. And we went to trial, and we were successful. We won that trial against the doctor, and it whet my appetite to even the playing field because these are my people. And when I was in that situation, we didn't have people, or in my mind, we didn't have people. It was those that have and the have-nots. Well, my job, and the way I take it, and I take it very seriously, is to even that playing field. So if you're with me, we'll go toe-to-toe with anybody, anywhere, at any time.
I love it. All right, now, so I got one final question for you. You're a smart guy, so I'm expecting a great answer here. But what do you think if there's a consumer who's at home and they're just wondering, they find themselves involved in some sort of legal situation? I mean, what's the best way to protect themselves and their rights?
Well, I think that's a very broad question, but I think that what you've got to do is, at least in regard to what I do, you've obviously got to take care of yourself first. Number one, think about yourself. If that means going to a doctor or a hospital, do that. But then I think you've got to document things, and you've got to make sure that you're detailing what happened when. But in 2012, social media has become such a large medium in society, and everybody posts on Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus or some social media website. Well, you've always heard the term, whatever you say can and will be used against you. If you put it out there, it can and will be used against you, including texting. If you text people, anyone can get your text. So if it's something that you think in your mind could be used against you, even innocuous statements or innocent statements, don't put it out there for the world to see.
Yeah, because sarcasm can be turned an awful lot of ways too in the court, can't it?
Absolutely, and you cannot see emotion in the written word all the time.
Wow, that's a really neat tip, Randy. Thanks for sharing that. Now, someone who's watching this who said they live in the Carolinas, need some help, where do they go to find you?
Well, you can get me through our website, which is www.mcgowanhood, M-C-G-O-W-A-N hood.com, or we've got a second website, P-H-A-R-M Injury, farm injury, but spelled like you would pharmaceutical, farminjury.com.
Excellent. We'll put that up on the screen. And is there any other phone number?
You can get us toll-free at 877-327-3800.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for joining us, Randy.
Nick, thank you.